Hello, everybody. A very good afternoon, morning, evening, wherever you are in the world. And there are a few people already. I saw that. Let me just switch to the comments so that I can see that. Hello to Los Angeles. Hello back from Los Angeles. um, it's lovely to see you all here. Hi, Venetia. Wonderful that you are joining from Alternatives in London. It's just great having you all here and looking at aspects of Reiki. The whole idea behind this show is to deepen our practice, to answer questions, and to give us more confidence, because this is just so important when we are dealing with everyday life. To have the confidence to use Reiki, to apply Reiki, to connect Reiki, to give it to Reiki so that Reiki can help us. And that's something that I have done quite a few times recently, where I just didn't quite know what was right. And I just decided to just give it to Reiki. So I just connect and set my intention to now give this problem, give this decision, give this outcome to Reiki, to the universe, so that whatever the outcome is what's right for me at this moment. And of course, what may be right for us at this very moment may not be right for us in the future, and then things can change. For me, that's the big kind of promise of Reiki, that things can change. Energy is about flow. And it's all about getting into this flow and realizing that our whole life is a flow. And once we become more part of that, once we get into the tune of it and accept this as a journey, as a development, as a flow, as an experience, then we can deal with life much easier and much better. Just looking at a few more people here, it's just so wonderful that you're all saying hello and that you are all here. I'm, of course, still in America at the moment, in Los Angeles. This is why I have this fireplace behind me. So underneath is the fireplace, and this is the wall above. And it's a very um, highly decorated, or whatever you call it. Well, there's a lot in this apartment I'm staying. So it's the only empty wall there is. So this is why I'm always sitting in front of this wall. Let's see what wall I'm going to sit in front of next week, because next week I'll be in New York City. And talking about flow, it feels very much like a natural flow to go there. This has been a really interesting journey for me. And especially as now one idea is becoming much clearer. And I hope that quite soon this will turn into reality, and we can reach more and more people through different mediums. In terms of mediums, I mean not like psychic mediums, but in terms of television and films and different kind of ways of self-broadcasting. So there's a lot that's happening here, which is really interesting, and I'm learning a lot. But going to New York City from LA at the moment feels very much like the right step. So I can't wait to get there and see what that holds. Um, what I wanted to say, there was something I wanted to say. Yes. So while I'm in Los Angeles, I am still offering a workshop here on Wednesday. That's tomorrow. Tomorrow night, 7:30 to 9:30, which is a past life regression workshop. And my take on past lives really has changed a bit. So the first time I kind of practically came across that was just over 10 years ago, when I learned past life regression myself. And about a year or so before, I had a past life regression. So I knew it worked, and I found it just fascinating to see myself in previous lifetimes. And I found that we can understand more about our current life through the lens of previous lifetimes. But the more I've been working with it, the less I think that the key to the understanding is to see or to, well, find out what happened in a particular lifetime that may have an influence on this very lifetime. It's fascinating. It can be deeply healing. It's very revealing. But for me, the more important aspect is to realize that we can change from incarnation to incarnation. In one incarnation, we are a man. In another incarnation, we are a woman. In one incarnation, we live a very long life. In another, we live a very short life. Sometimes life seems very fulfilling. Sometimes we struggle for a long period. But then, even though some of these experiences may have a knock-on effect on the next life, we do not have to be bound by it. This is a new experience. We have moved on. We've learned from that. And we can now create something different. So really what a life is all about, and it's really interesting, I'm getting really into this flow because it's just so important. What a life is all about, is creating the best we can do in a lifetime, creating with the tools we have, our abilities and our inabilities, our shortcomings and limitations. This creates this unique personality we are in this incarnation. And based on that, we can create something truly amazing for ourselves in terms of experience, but also for other people. Because, of course, we are connected, and we are connected with other people in this lifetime, even though we may not necessarily want to be connected with them. But we are also connected with people through different lifetimes. And for me, what was really fascinating was the realization that we do incarnate with a group of people, a play group or soul family. So in different incarnations, we come back in different constellations, and this prompted my, not the last book, but by the book before, Proof of Reiki, Proof of Eternity, because that really was for me the proof of eternity, past life regression, and understanding that in different constellations we come back. So in one life we may be mother and son, in another life we may be lovers, in another lifetime we may be neighbors, or we just play for half a year in the same playground, and then we move and our families move in different direction. But that was the connection. It's just fascinating, just absolutely fascinating. And yes, just as fascinating as it is to see all your lovely comments, and somebody suggesting, Janet, that's so lovely. Don't forget to click the like button, everyone. So yes, that'd be lovely if you could like that. I'm not so sure why. I feel the connection anyway, but I think it's because this kind of brings up the algorithms in YouTube, and the more people like something, the more they then show it to other people, and the more people we reach eventually. And of course, this is what this is all about. But talking about all these kind of different ideas of we are connected and we have experiences and we are in a body with different abilities, all this is addressed in Reiki. And this is why there are symbols in Reiki. As simple as that. But I thought there were some questions over the last few weeks regarding symbols, regarding the use of symbols, regarding the meaning of symbols, the drawing of symbols. And so I thought this would be a good topic to address in a show. So you can ask live questions, but also we can just kind of look and reflect on the idea why there are symbols at all. Because symbols are a bit weird. And when I started with Reiki, I found it almost a bit off-putting. The fact that we get healing hands is already strange. It it's almost disconcerting. I mean, why is this? What do we suddenly have? Why do we have something we didn't have before? It's just very, very unusual. And by using our healing hands, we get to know them. We get to know the power of Reiki. And step by step, we get to know ourselves better through this connection. So, this is already quite challenging, or can be quite challenging, especially when you learn Reiki and somebody says, well, I give you an attunement and initiation, and then you'll have healing hands. And you think, okay, so what do I do with my healing hands? Where's the energy coming from? What is Reiki? What is the universe? Where is all this connected to? It's just very, very complicated. When I took a moment to prepare for today, I was thinking of Albert Einstein, who, I'm paraphrasing, at some stage said something along the lines of, the more I do science, the more I believe in God. So the scientific approach brought him to the understanding that there is a guiding hand, a bigger picture, a higher structure, something that has influence, something that we are connected to. This is what he meant with God. So he didn't use the word in a purely religious or particularly Christian sense, because he even learned. Um, what did he learn? He learned Sanskrit to be able to read the Bhagavad Gita in its original text. So there was his quest of getting a deeper understanding in different ways. But God is also a synonym for mystery. And this has been my big experience over the last decade. The more I learn, the more the more I understand that it's much more complicated. It's much more complex. There is much more of a mystery. So much so that my last book, there were these guides stepping in and giving me more information and giving the structure of the universe of 7 different levels of existence. But of course, this is only a blueprint in words, in terms that we as human beings can intellectually understand. And then again, we use words in different ways. Yesterday, I don't know how I got this example. Yesterday, we were talking about pancakes. Um, the pancakes I got at home often had either slices of apple, or they were kind of in between, not ultra thin, but not too thick. Then there are the French pancakes, crepe, and they are just wafer thin. And then the American cakes, small and spongy, and served with, I don't know, maple syrup and cream and berries and all that kind of stuff. So one word describes something that refers to something that's pan-fried, but the outcome, the look, the taste is different, probably even some of the ingredients. So a word is not always fully appropriate to explain something. And this is why Mikao Sui introduced the symbols into the system of Reiki. Because the system of Reiki, of course, is based on the energy we feel. So it is very experiential. We feel something in our hands, somebody else feels something, whether it's warmth, whether it's a flow, whether it's a process starting in a body, but there is something often physical happening. So we experience something. And we all know how we describe the experience after a Reiki treatment. It is almost impossible People use the words like floating, like different, weird, amazing. People saw colors. What does that mean? Their mind was translating an energy experience into something visual. So this is why they see colors. So it is fascinating, and it is a mystery what we are experiencing, what we are connecting to in Reiki. And then we use that and we get different outcomes. We get physical healing, we get physical relief, we have stress reduction, we get intuition, a certain insight. We become more clear about certain decisions, or we become more confident. We just stand up for ourselves, or we realize some time is needed, some acceptance. Maybe the picture, the outcome, the path is not as clear, but we realize we have this help on the path. We get these experiences for ourselves, and other people have them when we give them Reiki treatment. And we can sometimes feel what's going on in their life, what's going on during the treatment, where and why they need Reiki, what Reiki is working on. So, all this is happening in a Reiki treatment, and it is complex. The more we do it, the more we understand it intuitively. But it does take some time. And to help on the path, to help for the time being, Mikao Sui created the Reiki symbols to help us identify more how Reiki works and to focus on these different aspects of Reiki. I don't want to turn this into a Reiki 2 course. Many of you have learned Reiki 2 or have done a Reiki Master course. Others are still looking forward to understanding the mystery of Reiki 2, the mystery behind the Reiki symbols. But I think there is just so much misunderstanding and indeed fear and judgment around the symbols that it is important to just go a little bit deeper into why they are symbols and what they are for. And to start with, let me just clear up one myth. There is so much information out there on the internet, in books, in courses about the Reiki symbols, and most of that is based on the understanding that Mikao Usui rediscovered ancient symbols and used them for Reiki. So he almost rediscovered an ancient system that used these symbols. This is not correct. This is absolutely entirely incorrect. The good thing is it doesn't matter at all whether we believe that or not, because Reiki works anyway, and we can use the symbols and they deepen our use of Reiki magnificently. But the information that Mikao Usui discovered or rediscovered the Reiki symbols in ancient scriptures is not correct, because why should he have kept this information? He never talked about that. One of, or I think two of his master students, 1 year after his death, erected the memorial stone in Tokyo in his honor. And a lot of information about his life and his teachings is on that memorial stone. And 3 times they said that Mikao Usui created something entirely new. It's almost the word he invented it. It was coming from him through his experience, obviously, but there is not the slightest suggestion that Mikao Usui rediscovered something old, something ancient. And I think this is really, really important. I mean, had it not been, had what no, start again. Why should he not have shared this information with his trusted master students close to his death? when they were meant to take over. He would have told them everything about Reiki that he could possibly think of to make sure that it is the tradition that he started and it's kept in this tradition. So the Reiki symbols are created specifically for Reiki. Had they been found somewhere, I'm very certain that they would have been found by now by other people. And there is nothing anywhere in ancient scriptures, whether it's Sanskrit texts, whether it's uh, um, runes or hieroglyphs or I don't know, whatever ancient symbols that have the exact Reiki symbols. There are similarities, but it's not the same. So Mikao Usui was inspired to come up with these particular symbols, but they are not kind of exact symbols um, uh, as other symbols used in the spiritual world or in energy healing. What is interesting is the spiral that you see in the power symbol is also a hieroglyph. So you find it in the pyramids and in the ancient temples in Egypt. But that's only the spiral. So it's not the horizontal line, it's not the vertical line, and then the spiral, it's just the spiral. And the spiral stands for healing energy. So, of course, it's fascinating when we work on something, when we want to penetrate a body with healing energy, we need to go right inside, deep inside to open things up. So, just moving in, just following this movement of drawing a spiral and getting us into the center is very important. And of course, movement is what energy is all about. So there are similarities, but the Reiki symbols are just for the use in the system of Reiki and created by Mikao Usui, and there are only four. There are three symbols that are introduced at the level of Reiki 2, and they are the working symbols. So they are meant to be used for our everyday life for Reiki treatments that we give. The fourth symbol is the master symbol, and it basically represents what Reiki is all about. So it kind of brings it all together, the light, the opening to the truth. This is what it is about. But it is more a therefore meditation or basically as guidance. This is where you're going with Reiki. You're going into the light. So the main symbols for Reiki are the three symbols introduced at the level of Reiki 2, and there are some Reiki traditions that do not even use the master symbol. So the master symbol, as powerful as it is not as important as the three symbols introduced at the level of Reiki 2. It's kind of different how they're introduced, but those are the original Reiki symbols. And every other symbol added beyond these symbols is something that has been added later. And if you see something, and it may have a meaning for you, if you see, I don't know, an eagle, and the eagle represents freedom for you. So every time you'll see this eagle, you will think of freedom. So for you, it's a very important connection. And when you feel that Reiki brought more freedom into your life, and you are a Reiki teacher, then you may at some stage tell your students that for you, the eagle is a really important symbol because it represents freedom. And one or two of your students may think that's really amazing. So when they want to be free, when they want to feel free, they visualize an eagle. And over time, an eagle becomes a Reiki symbol. So this is kind of how all the symbols were added over time to Reiki. And what I have done over the last 15 years now is trying to declutter Reiki and try to understand the original system, which doesn't mean that what isn't original is wrong. There is always scope for development and deeper understanding. But it is, I think, helpful to understand the original system of Reiki to start with. And this has these three levels of teaching, of understanding. Reiki 1, or Shoden in Japanese, the beginner's level, where we get an attunement, or 4, and where we start feeling something in our hands, where we play with our healing hands, where we use Reiki on others, on ourselves, on situations, on the fridge, or whatever, on food, on water, all this kind of stuff. And that's just so exciting. And then we start realizing that the more we use Reiki, the more is happening. It's a whole new world of intuition opening up. And then the Reiki symbols come in. When I talk about physical healing, I can say I want to use Reiki for physical healing, and I set my intention. Or I draw the symbol, the power symbol that stands for physical healing. This is what it's basically all about. It stands for something. A symbol is not there with a meaning in itself. It always represents something. This is why it's called a symbol. Its symbol symbolizes something. Well, let me just see. The buttons, the controls on my computer, they have where is it? A microphone, megaphone, loudspeaker. That's the word, loudspeaker. And then they have these kind of little lines there. And the more lines, the louder it is. So this image doesn't give the sound, but it represents the idea of sound increasing or decreasing, or volume getting higher or lower. And this is what symbols are. They stand for something. And this is what the three Reiki 2 symbols do. So the power symbol stands for physical healing, for, in fact, not just physical healing, but for anything physical, anything to do with our physical existence, whether it means more energy, whether it means cleansing, whether it means giving Reiki to your laptop or your printer when they stop working. So this is basically what a symbol does. It represents something. It symbolizes something. And the power symbol does symbolize the idea of physical healing, physical change, more energy, being in a body and having help and strength in a body. So it's very much to do with the acknowledgement that we are physical beings and that this is okay. And it's interesting. There is so much talk in some spiritual teachings about the idea of overcoming the body. Well, for me, it's more about accepting the body, working with the body, because the body is this incredible tool that we have. Of course, there's more to us. And of course, at death's door, we leave the body behind. And then we move on as our soul, as this spiritual being, as this purely non-physical, energetic entity. But until then, we are in a body, and that can be very challenging and it can be great fun. And what I so love about Reiki is that it just accepts that. It can help us get more energy, and it can help us get more healing, also physical healing. And of course, this is why it's so popular, because it really has these amazing physical healing effects. And yet there is, of course, the level of non-physicality. We are emotional beings. We have emotions. We experience through emotions. And it's important to accept that emotions go up and down, that we learn through emotions, that it's important to have emotions, to accept emotions, to deal with emotions. So what is that? That's not physical anymore. Of course, one could argue that there's a certain set of hormones released and that's something physical and then we feel something, but it's not just that. There's very much our mind as well. So we see something and we are scared, or we laugh. It makes us happy. And then this filters through into our body. So there is a physical effect afterwards, but not initially. So we are a being with a mind, with a brain, with a memory. And memories can trigger things. We have a past. We have lived for some time and learned. So the learning, the understanding, all this is part of us. And all this is represented in the second symbol, the harmony symbol. And harmony symbol is not really the right word. It is something that was introduced, I don't know when, in the Western tradition at some stage. But it says that it basically is based on the understanding that when we use the symbol, we harmonize ourselves. We get more, feel more peaceful, more at ease with ourselves. We have a deeper understanding. We have more intuition. We open up our intuition. We see not just with our two physical eyes, but with our third eye. So we sense what's going on in the world. We sense there is more out there. We spiritual guidance or even guides. So all this is part of the idea behind the harmony symbol. Um, this is why the mantra that goes with the harmony symbol stands for mental disposition, changing our mind, realizing that there's more to us than just our physical body. Realizing that when we just cling to our physical body, this is a pretty bad habit. So there is a way uh, to translate the mantra for the harmony symbol as bad habit, or letting go of bad habit, because we need to overcome the bad habit of thinking I am a body and the body struggles. No, there is much more to us. I'm a spirit in a body. So this is what this symbol stands for. So it's this is I am talking so much about it because I wanted to bring across that either we write a whole essay, then we have the meaning in words, or we have a symbol and then we have it all in one place. This is the power of symbols, because they can just symbolize a big idea that one word can never capture. So this is why the symbols are so amazing, because they capture this idea. They help us to open up by simply drawing a symbol. But of course, they all only um, work within Reiki. So they're not independent. When we use them, we have learned Reiki already. We do that with the intention of using it within Reiki. They are Reiki connected. So they cannot do any harm. Nothing can ever come out of our work with it that feels wrong, because, or that is wrong, because it is Reiki. We are guided by Reiki. So we're just focusing. They are just tools in our hands. The Japanese Reiki master Hiroshi Doi once described the Reiki symbols as training wheels. So we use them until we are completely steady, and then we might even let go of them. Personally, it's only happened a few times in my life that I felt I don't really need the symbols, I'm there. But most of the time I use the symbols. I think they're amazing. I do not know anybody in the Reiki world that I'm connected to who completely does without the symbols. We don't need to use them all the time, but they are powerful. And it's just one intention, one drawing, one mantra, or even Kotodama that we use. Kotodama is just the essence, the shorter version of the mantra. So um, the symbols really take us straight away as a shortcut to these amazingly deep levels on which Reiki works. And I said I don't want to turn that into Reiki 2 course. I just wanted to give the bigger picture, because I think the bigger picture is just so amazing already. But um, there is a question here. I've seen Shukure, the power symbol, drawn from left to right. What do you mean from left to right? Let me just see. Has anyone experimented with that? Well, the power symbol, one more thing before we go anywhere and before I alienate anybody. I'm aware that there are some traditions that do not like publicly talking about the symbols. They feel the symbols are sacred, and as such, they could be kept secret and only should be kept secret and only used by people who have learned Reiki. I understand that, but I just don't see any harm in the symbols. I don't see any harm that Reiki can possibly do with anything. So when it can't do any harm, when it can only do good, then why should we not show that? I mean, you just need to Google Reiki symbols and the whole screen is full of symbols. So they are out there everywhere, and I don't think it's a problem. In fact, even if somebody has not learned Reiki and they look at it, they look at a symbol and they feel a connection, they feel it's doing something, maybe it does. So maybe it does even have an effect just by being there. So let me just go back to the symbol. So I did bring a piece of paper here. I only have a very thin pen, but this is the power symbol as it is traditionally drawn. And it goes from the left. Oops, there we go. From the left, there we go. I can't do that. Left to the right, then down, and then going to the right, going anti-clockwise. You kind of draw it in and you spiral it in. So you kind of really bring that right into the center. There is a number of different explanations. And in my Reiki science training, we go much more deeply into that, into the different ideas, why it's drawn anti-clockwise, and how a spiral is drawing us straight into the center of a problem, how it's really opening up. It comes to the mantra Chokure, and the mantra Chokure means direct spirit, but it can also mean going deep inside. So when you have a sword and you just cut into something, you go right inside. This cutting action in Japanese is called Chokure. So you bring the energy right deep inside of that. That's the idea behind that. I would suggest learning a symbol properly, learning it by heart, and making sure that it is as original as possible. So do have a look at the internet. Of course, we give away printouts at the courses at the Reiki Academy so that people can really learn it. I am on the understanding that um, what's his name? Um, Mikao Sui's master student, Chujiro Hayashi, that he drew these symbols on a piece of paper to show them to other people. This is how they're actually drawn. And I heard that somebody I know has seen this piece of paper and knew that this was, or they see it was traced through from there. So that was the original. That's the original way to draw it. But I only know that through corners, so I'm not entirely certain. All I can say is that this is the main way of drawing these symbols, how we do that at the Reiki Academy and how it's in my books as well. But if you've learned it in a different way or in a slightly different way, I tend to find that they only ever differ slightly. So if you learned it in a slightly different way, don't worry. You use the intention, you connect to Reiki, and within this connection, you draw the symbol. So what should go wrong? What you might want to do at some stage, if you see a more original drawing, you may want to try if it makes a difference in how you experience things. But it may well be that the intention is just so important and so strong that it doesn't really matter too much. So there are these three Reiki symbols: the power symbol for physical change, physical healing, more energy; the harmony symbol for spiritual opening, guidance, intuition, balancing, dealing with emotions, dealing with our mind. That's the symbol that is often used when we work with addicts, with recovering alcoholics, with drug addicts, and so quite powerful how Reiki can kind of replace, in a way, the stimulation they have from their drugs and helps uh, or help on their path. And of course, there is the extraordinary symbol that's called the distance or connection symbol. And I like the word connection symbol because it's not about a distance, it's about the opposite. It's about realizing the distance doesn't matter and that we are still connected. So we are tapping into this interconnectedness, and once we are there, it just opens up a whole new level of connecting with other people, of understanding them, of giving Reiki treatment, and allowing us to give a distant Reiki treatment, but also um, it helps us realize, and it was for me the biggest breakthrough ever in my understanding and research of Reiki. It is not really about bridging a distance between people. It's realizing that in our hearts, we are connected with everybody. So it ultimately opens our heart and helps us to make that the basis of our everyday life. So this was much longer than I had anticipated. And I hope that we covered the most important questions of the Reiki symbols. Maybe in one of the next episodes, we go into one symbol at a time or one idea at a time, whether it's intuition, whether it's physical healing or getting more energy or so on. So please feel free to comment or to email with any ideas or any questions you have that you wanted to have covered in this YouTube show. And I hope step by step we will reach more and more people and allow Reiki through us, because it needs the vehicle of us. So allow Reiki through us to reach out and to make the world a better place. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening. Thank you for joining. It's been a lot of people today, over 100 people, I think, on the live screening already. And then, of course, many on the replays. And that is the beauty, that the connection is still there in the replays. You can still sense what's going on. You can still take part. And most importantly, you can even join the Reiki share. And this is how I would love to conclude today's show, with a Reiki share and just connecting to Reiki, connecting with everybody, and feeling the flow of Reiki through us, sharing with everybody on this Reiki share and getting it from everybody. So getting a deep experience of healing. So when you're ready, just bring your hands together for a moment, close your eyes, and set your intention that you're connecting to Reiki. And when you're ready, you can just open your hands and intend to now connect with everybody live and later in a replay on this Reiki share. You can use the connection or distance symbol to deepen this connection and feel it more strongly. And then just feel the connection. You may also feel or hear a connection to my neighbor, who is, I think they're moving in today. So this is where the noise is coming from. My apologies for that. But of course, that doesn't need to distract us in any way from Reiki. Neither that noise nor the fire brigade, whatever is going on here in the background. Just listen to your hands, just sense the flow of Reiki. Feel the connection with everybody. And in this disturbance from the outside, feel the inner peace that Reiki brings. So, this is all about the experience, going beyond words. And if the background noise is too distracting, you may just want to turn the volume down for a moment on your computer or device, whatever you're using, and just open your eyes from time to time to double check whether we are still in the Reiki share or whether I've started talking again. And then you can slowly come back into the here and now. Just take a moment to bring your hands once more together. Thank Reiki. Just take a moment to really feel the gratitude. And when you're ready, then just come back. Once more, thank you for making this such a really lovely and lovingly connected event. It's just wonderful having you all here, and I can't wait seeing you next week in or from New York City. So if you are living there, if you are living around, please do get in touch. And I'm hoping to be able to organize something there, like a book signing or like a workshop or so. It will come into place. So I trust the guidance and I trust the path. And I look forward to seeing you there or in London, where we still have several live courses at the Reiki Science Academy, which is great. And now it seems that the post-COVID dip is over and we have much more activity, much more people coming again, more people wanting to take up Reiki as a career and work in private practice and in hospitals, and of course, using it for themselves. So it's wonderful having you all here. And I will see you next week. And if you are here in Los Angeles this week, then please make sure that you come to the past life regression workshop tomorrow. Tomorrow at 7:30 at the Peace Yoga Gallery, 903 South Main Street. Better double check where exactly that is, in downtown Los Angeles. So now I need to find the right button again, and then I wish you a wonderful rest of the day.